Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. This is Craft Beer Blab. Co-hosting with me today, as always, is Jonah Di Pasquale. Always here with me. He runs a show every Thursday night called Bike Chat, and I believe this Thursday night he's going to be hosting Ferretti Cycles,
Yes.
cool custom frame builder. I'm excited to see that one, and that'll be very exciting. In addition to co-hosting here on this Blab with me every Tuesday night. And I just want to thank everyone for joining in. Tonight we are, for our main topic, we'll be talking about and maybe learning something. I'll probably be learning something about a beer style that not a lot of people, I guess, well, people know about it, but not too many people really know about it. It's the Saison. You know, today's world, we're kind of everybody's got an IPA and everybody's got stouts, and this Saison, it's a Belgian Farmhouse style ale. It kind of gets swept under the rug, so we'll be talking about that in a little bit. But how are things going with you today, Jonah?
Well, you know, Gunnar, great. Been a very mild winter in upstate New York, and it's been pretty bizarre. I was saying this the other day on my Instagram feed how I've spent more time on my bike this winter than I have snowboarding or cross-country skiing. So it's a little bit bittersweet. You know, it's always nice to get those bonus rides in. During the December months. I memean, we had a record temperature a few days ago, which was crazy.
Right.
Otherwise, that's it, man. Just, looking forward to this. I have to just, this is my disclaimer. I have had very few Saisons. So folks, just as the audience watching this right now on replay or tuning in live, it's very exciting because I may have tried them a few times. I don't necessarily know if my palate really likes them. And I think you bring up a great point is craft beer in general. We've sort of been kind of Americanized, like you like lager or you like IPAs or you like stouts. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. But I do feel, to your point, is a lot of times like when I'm personally going out to pick up a 6-pack for a party or get together, the Saison is probably the last thing on my mind. So I'm very excited for this show, and I'm very much looking forward to it. So a shout out to those folks that are watching right now, both live, and it looks like we got a few people kind of lurking. Lisa Foster, hey, what's going on? Patrice Hall, what's going on? We Power, and of course AJ Moraine's in the house. We have, man, this is Kristen. Hey, Kristen, she's a big Beer Chat fan. Good to see you. And AlexandraSamuel.com. Woo, man, we got some players.
Awesome.
A few more. Georgia Lee London's in the house. We also have Supple, and of course you're here, and so am I.
Yeah. Make sure if you guys are enjoying the show, please go ahead and tweet it out to your friends, tell the little bird, or post it on Facebook. That we really appreciate that. And also for anyone out there catching this on the replay, either on Blab or on YouTube, because usually these videos are posted to YouTube and then to my blog, although I've been kind of slacking lately. I don't think I have last week's video up on that blog. Yeah.
Slacker.
Not like having enough other things to do with the holidays coming up. But
seriously, dude. Seriously, what's the matter with you?
I should be, I got to get my priorities, Christmas,
dude, right?
Or updating blog. I got to figure this thing out. So, but again, if you're catching that, please, if you are on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe and like us there. And then also on the blog, if you want to leave comments, and also on here live, if you have a question or a comment that you want to go ahead and type that into the chat. If you do have a question, please do the /Q, and that'll be able for us to be able to shoot that question up on the screen so that it's seen on the replay, as well as everyone else will be able to catch it.
Love it.
Let me see here. I did have, usually I try to start off with some sort of hop topics. That's a play on words there, hop as in hoppy.
I love it.
Yeah, it's, I'm trying to be clever.
Hey, I got one for you.
Okay.
If you recall last week, do you remember pinging me about the ingredients for beers? I don't know, audience, if you guys get a chance to catch last week's Craft Beer Blab. That was one of the points that Gunnar had brought up. I don't know how you guys feel about this, but they're going to start putting the ingredients
Yes.
On beer. Now, is
On
that
the
something
label,
that matters? On the label? Now, I don't know about you, audience. You can chime in. Is that something that matters? That doesn't matter? But as far as hot topics, it was interesting that you said that. But I have seen a lot of that pop up lately in a lot of my social feed and blog information.
Right. And it. I think one thing that that really got the Twitter sphere kind of going was that a lot of people were thinking that this rule or regulation is going into effect January, which it is, but it's actually January 2016 that it's really in effect. So they have a year
Right.
to get ready and to do the testing, do whatever they need
Sure.
to, and then get the
Sure.
labeling out there. I got mixed feelings. One, the more info, the better. To me, it's like, okay, well,
Sure.
some beers you can't even find the ABV on the bottle, and so if they can
Right.
label it correctly and that type of stuff, and I think this
Sure.
is more for the restaurants and bars and places that serve the beer.
Sure.
And so they have to be able to provide that information to restaurants and bars so that they can put it on the menu and that kind of stuff. And in that case, to me, it's kind of like, when I'm at a restaurant, I don't necessarily count calories or worry too much about, okay, well, what's in this or whatnot.
Right.
I can see where it's important because, if you're trying to, I don't know, if you're trying to eat all organic, you care if your food is organic. And so it helps if
Sure.
that's labeled. But,
Sure.
again, mixed feelings. I don't know necessarily one way or the other for myself, but, don't want to steer.
Well, I think it's like again, for the foodies out there, I think it's like that that optimal piece of food or that food dish that you go for, that you just know that it's off the caloric chart. You're like, ooh, look at this chocolatey, caramely, peanut buttery, big ass blaster, super yummy dessert that I shouldn't be eating. You're like, oh wow. I mean, let's be realistic. It's not going to stop you if you know that you want it. But I do think that it is a good point in specifics about the hot topic here is ingredients on beer. For the folks that do have issues, again, we did, Stone IPA, delicious IPA. That was something where if you had folks that were very intolerant to certain ingredients of beer, that makes sense. So.
Right, exactly.
Again, and I think your point is well taken, for the audience out there to point that. I mean, it's not going to happen. I mean, the ingredients on craft beer is not going to happen overnight. But again, I think that it is the beauty of social media, and a lot of people are, kind of chiming in and saying I'm indifferent. So I guess my final say on that is ingredients on beer. I'm indifferent. I would probably go with indifferent if that was my conversation. I don't think I would lose sleep over it.
Right.
But if for some reason my health, God forbid, changed and I had to worry about that, then I probably have to address that as accordingly. So.
Right. And while we're talking about this, I know this is kind of a little bit off topic, but so you go to the grocery store, and lately with Christmas, there's all the Christmas candies and stuff. And so I was at the grocery store with my wife, and we were going down the candy aisle, and they have these huge monster Reese's peanut butter cups. I don't know if you've seen them, but I want to say they're like
I got one in my fridge. A couple.
Well, see, that's my thing is I thought, well, that would be awesome to get. It would be so delicious. But then my problem is, and I wouldn't look at what the calories are.
You should.
Because I know it's going to be off the chart. But I would sit there and I would, maybe I would cut off a chunk and I would eat that chunk.
Oh, no.
And then
Sliver
I'd be
it
like,
to death.
okay, well, I'm going to cut off another chunk. And by the time it's over, I had, 2,000 calories worth of Reese's peanut butter cups.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I mean, it is literally. I mean, it's like a pie, basically. I mean,
I got that.
So,
all right.
I refuse to get it because I know I wouldn't be able to control myself. There would be no way. It would be gone. and I would
I
get
think
sick, and it would be bad.
I think you're sending subliminal messages to our audience here in Craft Beer Blab. They're going to there'll be a disclaimer for your address, and then like to be these giant Reese's peanut butter cups. All right, so hey, that was our hop topic.
Right.
Let's.
Well, I got another one. I got another hop topic, and maybe
Get it.
it's old news, but actually, I
Let's hear
think you had pinged me on this on Twitter. Was that Bicycling Magazine says that your post-ride beer will not hurt your hydration. So basically, beer as your recovery drink.
Oh, absolutely.
I think
Absolutely.
it's awesome. I think it's great.
Well,
Go ahead.
I think, I mean, and I'm sure audience, you guys, you can chime in on this. I mean, you name any particular vice that you have. Okay. Be it craft beer, be it chocolate, be it caffeine, folks, how many times has that like meter swung both ways? Like, don't drink coffee, your head will fall off, or if you drink a beer, it just makes me laugh. But no, that is a good point. And let's be realistic. I feel like anytime that you are associating craft beer, there's definitely some effort there to kind of particularly pay attention to what you're consuming. Again, not to slight any of the other brands, the big box brands, but I probably won't be going out, for a Budweiser or a Coors Light or anything like that. But again, they're good beers. Certainly nothing against them. But I think that when it comes to a good beer, I think it's part of the experience. I think that's why we're here tonight, as far as the whole experience. And by the way, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. This is Craft Beer Blab. Your host, Gunnar Soros, and of course, myself, Jonah DiPasquale. Please feel free to share this out with your followers. We do appreciate that. And again, most importantly, if you're watching this on replay, thank you for your time. Every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or 6 p.m. if you're in Rochester, Minnesota. So, hey, listen, I know that we are talking about Saison, and I know the audience is itching to listen to what you got in your noggin, but I want to show you something. I'm very excited about this, and I know I pinged you on this about this, and I want to show the audience what I'm drinking. This is very exciting stuff. This is a can of goodness right here. This is white IPA from Oskar Blues. Now, Oskar Blues is without question one of my favorite cult brewers. They started in they are in Colorado. They also are. There's one in the Carolinas as well. But very quickly, this is obviously, with the letters themselves, it is an IPA. But the interesting thing about this is two things. I know you're very titillated. I did want to say that online. It is in a can, so I'm winning favorites with you.
Nice.
The other good thing about this particular beer from Oskar Blues, it is a white IPA. Now, the nice thing about a white IPA is the difference being, and you'll see that in the pour here in a few minutes, but the taste is incredibly unique, and I will not let you down. I will definitely send you stuff, but let's do the pour here. I'm gonna give you a little crack here, and let's see here.
There it goes. Very nice.
And again, Marca. So again, I think that the clarity and the light isn't that good, but as I said, it's got a very light, I want to say kind of a golden amber, body to it. As I said, it's again, there's some slight citrusy undertones to it. Again, I'm not going to say this is a fruity beer. This is not. But again, the flavor, it's very smooth. And when we talk about IBUs, it doesn't have that Kung Pao to the throat. So again, it isn't a Saison, but again, I do feel like well worth it. Again, folks, here it is. It is the Oskar Blues White IPA. I highly recommend it. Definitely big shout out to those guys right there. That's your what I'm drinking. And now, of course, Gunnar, I know you're holding out. What do you have under your sleeve for our audience this evening tonight?
Well, I kind of went back and forth. I was gonna at first So there's a couple of well-known saisons. One being Omegang Brewery out of New York State. They make an excellent saison, and I kept going back and forth. Like, okay, that's a very classic style, very good, very solid beer. And then I thought, well, I got a local brewery, which I like supporting local, and for me, local is Minnesota. So we got a local brewery called LiftBridge out of Stillwater, Minnesota, and they have this Farm Girl saison.
Nice, dude. Farm Girl. Ain't she pretty?
Yeah. So it's brewed in the farmhouse tradition, and what that means basically is that, and let me grab I have some notes here that I took about saisons. And so saisons, again, it's a style out of Belgium or northern France, but mostly in Belgium. And what they did was that they would brew these beers through winter, and then they would ferment them over winter and have them, because the farmers wouldn't brew beer in the summers because they're too busy farming. So they could brew all their beer.
Right.
And then, they could supplement income by selling their beer and that type of stuff. So the saison was one of the styles of beer that they do. And besides the grain and the hops in there, a lot of times these farmers would put in extra either spices or fruits, sometimes citrus fruits and that type of stuff, or citrus peels. And so I believe LiftBridge, they say brewed in the farmhouse tradition, and then on the side it says ale brewed with orange peel.
Yum.
So they're trying to keep it in that style. Now, it's not like wine or champagne where you can't, I think with wine, if for it to be a specific type of wine, the grapes have to be grown in that region. Beer is a little more loose. So, you can have a saison that is not from Belgium, which is great. And so I'm going to go ahead and pour it. Now, a saison, I was trying to look up what the proper temperature is to serve a saison. And it seems like the internet is telling me 45 to 50 degrees. Yep. And so it's not a cold beer, but because of the way its flavor profile and stuff, it's kind of a crisp, refreshing beer.
That looks good.
It's a lighter in color. So
nice.
It kind of ranges from a light to a deep amber color, and this definitely kind of hits the lighter color on it.
Okay, I'd say so.
Very carbonated, not a lot of head though, so it doesn't have that.
Right. And you said the saisons, again, I would imagine in the brewing process itself, the fruits, again, when we use fruits, especially in craft beer, I think it's that fine line. I don't want the audience to think, to your point, is it's a shock top or something like that, and where it's like but to your point is the saison, it's like in terms of cooking or obviously brewing, the subtleties are there, and I'm a big fan. I am a big fan of those citrus undertones, and there's a number of beers that we can talk about that certainly play into that. But it is almost very much like the IPA, the white IPA is very much like that. There is that citrusy undertone, and I think to your point, probably through that fermenting and that brewing process, I believe, probably helping to take the acidity and the bite off of that, because again, obviously the fermentation period doesn't take a short amount of time. So that's a great point there for the audience out there watching. So nice.
No, yeah, it is a very subtle. It's a subtle. It's more of a hint, I guess. And saisons also kind of tend to have a fruity smell and kind of a fruity flavor, not like a fruit flavor, but just kind of a hint of fruitiness. Very nice. Look at that. And a lot of times that is actually because of the yeast. And so what you're getting is kind of this balance. There's also a sweetness to it that because
Sure.
because of the malts that they use, and they use, I want to say extra malts, but that's not necessarily the correct term. But
Sure.
they let the malt flavor profile shine through a bit more than obviously, well, like an
Right.
IPA or even a pale ale that has more of a hop presence.
Right.
And that's not to say that there's no hop presence, because some hop profile in there, but you're not going to get like, the IPAs that have that citrusy, piney
Right.
flavor to it. It's just kind of, everything is really balanced. And, LiftBridge makes a really good Saison.
Let's see here. Beer Advocate scores the Farm Girl Saison as an 81.
Nice.
Saying that it is good. Obviously, the seasonal farmhouse house it's 6% ABV, by the way. It is available year round, and again, the reviews are pretty much in line with what you're saying, and I feel like an interesting comment from one of the customers says barley qualifies for the Saison moniker. Short-lived, had no lace. Body is a tad thin. Aroma isn't bad. Yeast, wet grain, but little pungency, slightly on the sweet side. Gotcha. I don't know if that
totally makes sense. And I mean, as I twirl it around, it definitely has, I want to say kind of a light beer look to it. I mean, there's no lacing on the glass. The head's dissipated completely already. There's still carbonation coming up though. So it's not a matter of carbonation. Right. It's just, I don't know exactly what makes the head of a beer. I know that different things factor into it, but it went away, and it was very thin to begin with. So
yeah, I think that Saison reminds me a lot of some of the ciders that we've been testing and drinking here in upstate New York. I mean, typically, again, if you folks have tried, that exactly. If you folks have tried a hard cider, it's very much like that. I mean, a cider itself may pour with an initial uncorking of some type of head, but it usually dissipates right away. And I think that's okay, which is fine. I mean, some beers I mind that, some beers I don't mind that. But I think the point of this beer is, I think once the initial pours kind of gotten out of the way, then you really can begin to enjoy that. I mean, and again, this is, you can see this is that white IPA from Oskar Blues that I just poured, and again, this is a fairly, I wouldn't say it's ice cold, nor is the glass warm, but again, there's very little head there. I'm fine with that. So what can we say about the Saisons? I mean, I know that a lot of people that are watching. Hey, by the way, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're watching this on replay, Craft Beer Blab, your host Gunnar Soros and myself, Jonah DiPasquale, co-host. Thanks for joining every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What would you say would be a really good pairing, with this Saison? I mean, again, it seems like almost anything, but what would be ideal?
In researching, and then also from my own palate, I think you could almost pair almost anything with a Saison, because it is so well balanced.
Right.
And because it's not overpowering in, it shouldn't be overpowering in spices. It shouldn't be overpowering in any fruit, like this one's brewed with orange peel. It shouldn't be overpowering in that. And I think I read somewhere that it's almost like a champagne of beers, in that it's effervescent and it's refreshing. I do think that it would pair well with like a pork roast, or I think
like
we
fish.
just had Thanksgiving. Fish. I think Thanksgiving would be great with it, because it would kind of cut through like the fat and the gravy, and kind of the starchier stuff.
Gravy.
Yeah. it would kind of complement with probably a lot of the cranberry jelly or cranberry dressing. It would probably, I think it would be an excellent like Thanksgiving type of meal beer. Bubbly Bible Girl is asking, can you see the floating picture of the person who gives you props? Yes, we can. Yes. When you're on and you give us props, then we can. Yeah, so I can see Jonah's props coming up right there. Yeah. And thank you. Once again, I just want to thank everyone that's joining in. Please go ahead and tweet, Facebook, share this with your friends if you like
please.
it. And again, Jonah's my co-host. He has a blab every Thursday night, bike chat, where we talk about bikes and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, good stuff, man.
And again, we're here every Tuesday talking about craft beer and hopefully discussing either craft beer topics or maybe some education on craft beer.
Yeah.
Today we're talking about Saisons.
And hey, great point. Listen, audience, we do have an open seat. Again, if the folks out there that are viewing have had some experiences with Saison, or honestly, even if it is something you want to share with us about craft beer, please feel free to do that. We do. Okay, we got a TV. What craft beer are you drinking? Great question. Thank you so much, Alex, for tuning in. Alex is a director of My Life, social media strategist, entrepreneur, brand ambassador, and influencer. Welcome.
Nice. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Alex. I am drinking a LiftBridge Farm Girl Saison. LiftBridge is a brewery out of Stillwater, Minnesota. They're kind of a local brewery to me. They brew this in the traditional, what they say, traditional farmhouse style. They brew it with orange peel. It's a very, very good beer. Not a thick, heavy beer. Nice, crisp, refreshing. It loses its head quickly, but I think it's very tasty, refreshing, tart, kind of dry. Smell, it doesn't have a lot of hop presence. It smells a little bit of yeast, maybe just a tiny bit of funkiness, and then you get a little bit of orange peel aroma out of there. There is some sweetness from the malt in there. It's also very well carbonated. Even though it loses its head, it's still got bubbles rising up. So it's crisp, refreshing. We were just talking about food pairings before you jumped in, and I was thinking it would be great with like a Thanksgiving meal between the turkey and the gravy and the cranberry dressing. All that with this, I think, would be excellent. Or pork roast, something with some fat in it, meats, that type of stuff. And Jonah can tell you what he's drinking.
Yeah, Alex, hey, thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate your time. I was very excited. Went out to, actually, I was looking for a Saison, and I found this. This is a white IPA from the folks of Oskar Blues. A very delicious. I'm a huge IPA fan. Many of you know that you've tuned in a good number of these beer chats. That's always typically my go-to. But this is, again, the same conversation. It does pour with an initially good head. Does mellow out quite nice. And again, the light, it can't really, unfortunately, it really can't get, you could sort of see it. It's got this amber cut, light, really almost like a light golden, again, color to it. As I said, as far as the flavor and the taste, let's see here. The taste, it's a very smooth IPA. It's not very bitey. There are some slight citrus undertones. Has a great finish to it. I feel that this beer would pair well with almost anything. I would say probably a beer that you could socially enjoy throughout the night with no issues. As I said, Oskar Blues is a very well known company, and in terms of like Dale's IPA and Old Chub and 1050 and things like that. But just caught my eye. Thought it was great. But as I said, the topic of this evening's Craft Beer Blab is Saison, and I've had a few. As I said to you folks just tuning in now earlier at the part of this live stream. I've not had very much experience with the saisons, and I think this is the beauty of this. As you see, even myself, we're kind of learning on the fly, and I would like to be confident at the end of this that I would certainly like to incorporate this into my palette, of beers to try. Because I think the key thing here, audience tonight, which is great, is that we're kind of taking the time to break down some of those, the minute details. Alex, great feedback, by the way, about the smell, those kinds of things. Those are very relevant. I think that if it's something that doesn't appeal to your overall senses, number one, you're not going to enjoy it as far as a beer. And number two, that the likelihood of you buying it again is probably not going to be the case. So, we feel like that the information, the content we're putting out here is value add for you as the audience. And again, same conversation goes. The seat is open. So if you've had some experience or cared to, chime in, please, come on in. We'd love to have you. And, there we go. Nicole Whitty, overseas, especially in France, make bottles that are thicker so you can you can
bottle condition better.
Yeah.
Definitely. And saisons are typically from the northern France to Belgium. We consider them Belgium beers, and again, bottle conditioning is very much the norm for this style of beer. So American beers generally will force carbonate the beers. I'm not sure if LiftBridge does force carbonate or if they bottle condition. There wasn't really, sometimes from a homebrewing standpoint, you can tell because there'll be residue from yeast on the bottom. I'm not getting that, and the beer itself is pretty clear. So I would say that it's a force carbonated beer. With the bottle condition, you will get a little bit different flavors, and that yeast in there will actually add to the flavor. Not that you want to pour it all in there and get a mouthful of yeast. I mean, unless that's your thing. But a little bit will always pour with the bottle, and you'll get a little bit of that flavor in there also. And so, and to touch bases real fast, there are multiple strains of yeast for different beers. You can break it down, lagers and ales. I can't remember which one is which. One is top fermenting and one is bottom fermenting. Most homebrewers will brew more ales because they tend to, I think it's lagers. I think you're right, Nicole Whitty. I think lager is the bottom fermenting yeast. And then there's a different temperature that it ferments at also. And so I do know some homebrewers that brew lagers. I don't. I think I'm not necessarily a fan of most lagers. So, but the saisons fall into the ale category. And then as far as ales go, I'm guessing there's probably at least 100 different strains of yeast out there to brew an ale. And so you want to match your yeast to your beer style. So, you want to, if you're brewing a saison, you'll want a saison style of yeast, or at least a Belgium yeast. If you're brewing like an American IPA, you want an American yeast that generally it's a lot cleaner. It won't it won't have too much of a yeast flavor to it, and so it'll really let like the hops flavors shine through, which most IPAs are known for. And so you want that hop forward presence, and you don't want too much of anything else. You want a balance of malt in there, but you don't want the yeast getting in the way of that. So that's some great points that you bring up there, Nicole. That and again, also the point that different regions, different places are better at brewing certain beers than others. I mean, I think that's pretty important there. That Belgian style beers are probably best from Belgium.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the questions that popped in my mind, you were talking about for the homebrewers, how much more finicky would it be to try to homebrew a Saison? Now, you've had experience with yourself homebrewing. I can clearly say that other than a slang calling my friends homebrew, I really have not had any experience with that. But no, honestly, for the audience out there, I mean, if you were to actually tackle this and try to actually homebrew a Saison, I mean, is like in terms of, like easy Jedi full tilt, what's the degree of difficulty there? Seriously.
Right. Well, to be honest, brewing beer is not really that hard, and I think everybody should at least try it once. I mean, if they know somebody that has equipment out there to do it, join someone on a brew day. It's really not exceptionally hard, and it's not
right.
It's hard to mess up too. Almost no matter what, unless you get some infection in your beer, you will have beer at the end of your brew cycle. So you'll have something to drink, and even if it turns out not really that great, it's something that you can drink and say, I made this. Now, in terms of making a Saison in particular,
right.
I wouldn't say it's any harder than another style of beer. But the great thing that you can do is, and what I would do to start off with, like I've never brewed a Saison. If I was to brew a Saison, I would probably start off with one of the ingredient kits from, like, say, Northern Brewer or another homebrew shop, that they'll have a kit that has the ingredients basically already laid out for you in a recipe for this particular beer.
We had a question. We got a question here from our good friend there.
Rush Miller Foundation.
Yeah, he said, "How do you spell that?"
How do we spell what? Saison? I think it's, and I should know because I have it there. Saison. Yes.
Yes.
Saison. Yes. Thanks, Nicole, and thank you, Michelle.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for joining in.
They're on it. They're on it.
Yeah. It's a Belgium farm style of beer. It's one of the Belgium farmhouse styles of beer. I think there's three or four in particular, Saisons being one of them. They tend to brew with some sort of other ingredient in there, either some sort of spices or like this one that I'm drinking has some orange peel in there. Sometimes they'll have other fruits in there. But not overly strong in any particular fruit flavor. It's just kind of added in there in addition.
It kind of reminds me of those holiday beers that come out. The annoying holiday beers that have like that ridiculous fruity taste and super high volumes of alcohol in them that taste terrible. And I'm not calling those beers out, but as I said, it certainly seems like that is, the seasonal style beer. But now this Saison is offered year round, so it isn't necessarily something that is seasonal. So I guess for the audience and clarification, there are seasonal, Saisons, and then there are just year round Saisons. So,
right.
Gotcha.
And so Eric, or Rush Miller Foundation, he's asking if it's lighter. It is. The color generally is going to be between light and dark amber. This one in particular is a lighter one. The body on it is fairly light. It doesn't leave very much lacing. I think it's like 7% ABV? Yes. So you get the pale ale generally around 7% ABV, highly carbonated. Yes. I think this one is still going with some bubbles coming up. Fruity, spicy, and often bottle conditioned. Yes, exactly. That is the style. They're generally a little dry also. So
this is 6% ABV, by the way.
6% is this one. Nice.
Yes. Yeah, farm grown.
I like it. I think it's really good. Thank you, Timothy West, for go ahead and tweeting that out.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
The other one, so the one that I also was considering drinking tonight is the Omegang.
Oh, yeah.
They have a beer called the Hennepin.
I've had it. I love it.
Have you?
Excellent. Excellent.
I had it a couple of years ago, and so I haven't had it near enough to kind of remember what it tastes like. But there's, I believe, let me just look at their description here. Ale brewed with grains of paradise, coriander, ginger, and sweet orange peel. So there's that orange peel again. That must be kind of common for Saisons to put in. But the ginger and coriander also sound very interesting.
It's different. You know, I think the thing is, I honestly, I would say I may have grabbed it by mistake, and I think that, you know, in the lieu of a lot of the Omengang beers that we have, they're the giant baseball bats. For the audience that don't know that, they've got the kind of like the champagne corker on it, and you know, I opened it up, and you know, I took a couple sips of it, and I think that, you know, one of the important things I want to emphasize is the Saison style beer. It's a different beer. I mean, if you think of, I hate to say the Americanized version of what you perceive beer to be. You know, to Gunner's point about this particular beer, you will find without question there's going to be different tastes going on for your palate, and the big thing here a lot of times with craft beer is you know, you have to have somewhat of an open mind when you're trying new beers, because otherwise you're just going to paint yourself in a corner and you're just going to keep drinking the same style of beers. I think that one of the great things about this show, and I you know, I definitely give thanks to Gunner, is it's kind of pushed me out of the envelope of not being like the stock IPA guy. So but as I said, with that, you know, with that being the point, you know, take with what we're seeing, you know, with a grain of salt. I mean, are we telling you that Saison is the next forthcoming of beer that everybody has to stock in their refrigerators? No, we're not. But I think that, you know, there's a lot of beers, and I don't know if you're like this, but there's a lot of beers that I just, you know, that I'll occasionally drink once in a while. You know, whatever, just because I feel like I'll okay, here we go. Like heavy winter beers, you know, which of course upstate New York is not happening. Like the porters, you know, hopefully we'll get to this point in craft beer, but oh, that's a beautiful pour, nice. You know, like the porters and the stouts and the really heavy duty, dark, can't even see through the motor oil beers. I mean, it's a completely different experience versus the Saison, and I think that, you know, to your point about the Saison being something you could drink socially, you know, through the evening, you can pair it with a dinner party, which is nice. The bouquet of the citrus undertones are not so overpowering that they're nauseating, almost very I think very complimentive, you know what I mean, for sure. So right.
Well, Nicole Whitty chimed in and said we should talk about Imperial Stouts next week.
Yeah, buddy. I think we just got a topic of mine. I'm a big fan of that. I've got a couple solid go-to Imperial Stouts.
Nice. Yeah.
Good.
Definitely.
Good timing too, by the
way. Right. You know, that might be. Again, my fanboy status for Surly Brewing would come through, and I think I have a bottle of Darkness from last year that I'd be willing to crack open for
Eric,
that.
That's awesm. Eric said he's off. He's not flying next Tuesday. He's ready.
Nice, yeah.
Eric, I've been practicing, and this is gonna go live. Here you go. This is you going to work. I'm up in the chopper right now, and it's really good. We're flying over the knoll. Right, folks, don't try that at home. That was my helicopter impression. Sorry. Yes, that's the sad part. I do explain it.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So yeah, let's make that a topic already. So we'll do Imperial Stouts next week.
It.
Russian Imperial Stouts, and so anybody that has, or you know, if you can't get a hold of a Russian Imperial Stout, a regular stout, we'll sort of work. You know, we'll kind of rib you for it, but
show up with a Russian Imperial Natty Stout. Daddy.
Yeah.
Get it, kids.
No, I think that's a great idea.
Agreed.
And,
yeah, no, I like that. I like that. It's awesome.
There are some great ones out there, so we'll get that going. Then everyone can join in on camera and show what they're pouring. It'll be nice to see the black being poured into the glasses.
I agree. Everyone has a week. No excuse for Russian. Well, two things, by the way. I want to point out a great thing to check out. Barrel backers. We had barrel backers on the show a number of probably, I want to say not weeks ago, but listen, seriously, check them out. It's barrelbackers.com, and they will actually ship to your doorstep. They've got a number of select beers you can choose from, and I know Imperial Stout's on there. Our good buddy Adam is awesome. And just be sure to say, hey, heard about you guys on Craft Beer Blab, check them out. But that's something if for any reason you don't have access to that. Also, too, hey, Gunnar, by the way, you just reminded me, what was the name, audience, this is a great website. What was that website you told me about that you can find beers that are in your area versus other areas? Do you remember what that was?
Yeah, I do. I'll have to see here if I can find it. I bookmarked it, and
see if I can come up with it. And by the way, it was a couple days ago. Gunnar's like, oh man, audience, he's like, you have to check this out, and it's a great website. I didn't bookmark it, of course, should have, but you can actually select the style of beerdo, the style of beer, and where you live, where the beer's from, whether or not it's available. Very, very cool. Yeah, Untapped is great. Yeah, Michelle, great. That's awesome. Yep, I agree with you.
Okay, so what we're talking about is Seek a Brew,
yes.
And they have a distribution index. And so if you go to that website, there's a couple ways that you can use it. So you can, if you just want to know what beers are available in your state, there's a map. You can click on the map and you can see what beers are available in that state. Then there's another way that you can do it where you can actually, there's, I think, you click on at the top, it says distribution comparison page, and you can put two states side by side and see what beers each state distributes. And then you can so this is great. So like I'm in Minnesota, Jonah's in New York. We can click on that and then I can see, okay, well, I have this beer here and he doesn't, and so I can mail him this, I can mail him a Surly, knowing that he won't be able to get it there.
It was awesome.
And so that's kind of cool.
Awesome.
Then the third thing that you can do is say you've been hearing about a certain brewery. Then you can select the brewery from the map, and then you can say, okay, so then it'll show you the states that beer is distributed in. So then what you can do is say, say you live in Iowa and you can't get Alaskan beer. Well, Minnesota is right across the border, so you can travel to Minnesota and get Alaskan beer if that's what you were searching for.
Yeah, that's
so. Yeah, it's a great site, and they do have a donate button. I think, they put this out there for free, so go ahead and check it out. Rush Miller says, Eric says, we already have a distribution. It's called Airlines. Yeah, nice. See? That's the way to do it.
Perfect. But hey, listen, audience, that's great. I know that been some fantastic feedback. We're coming up on the top of the hour. This week's Craft Beer Blab Saisons. We reviewed and discussed the unique style of beer. And thank you so much for your time. We appreciate everybody tuning in. And those of you that share this out, thank you so much. Every Tuesday evening, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. You know where to find us. And, again, phenomenal feedbacks. I know the Imperial Stout idea is awesome for next Tuesday. That's great. And Eric, a.k.a. Rush Miller Foundation, I know he, as well as the member at large, Tommy Crowder, who's not here, we've been talking about doing a bourbon or whiskey blab. That's still on there. And I would have to say, Gunnar, with the holidays coming up, and look at Nicole Whitty, she's into that. Actually, audience, let's do that. If you feel that is something you want to do,
Tommy Crowder is in the house. Look at that.
Oh boy, the audience. So Tom, this is perfect timing. So audience, if you feel that we need to do like a whiskey bourbon blab, in the send message, I want you to type whiskey.
Nice.
Where it says send message, just type. Well, here he comes. Look out. Here he comes. Get your.
I've been saying this forever. Of course we do. Whiskey blab Saturday.
If you do,
we gotta do it.
Oh, there you go. Look at
The Hoosier.
That's fantastic. Yes. By the way, is Tommy Crowder's beard has its own URL, just so you know. Here you go. Eric's coming in now. He's going. This is where. There we go. Fasten your seatbelts. Here he comes.
All right. Seriously, this is awesome. I'm working tonight. It's blizzard all day. We just got the helicopter back in service. But listen, seriously, next week, let's skip the scout. I am on ski patrol next Tuesday, and I'm spending the night on Wednesday. So I'll be in the ski town where they've got kick-ass whiskey bar, and I'll blab from the bar. and I'll drink whiskey, and I will get shit canned for you guys. And you tell everybody that Miller is going to be drunk in the ski town.
Man,
you don't get that offer every day.
I know.
Tommy, you need to focus here. Tommy, don't get looking off.
We're good.
Yeah.
Going over
Nicole, don't worry.
Jonah's fridge because I'm about 20 minutes away.
Oh, nice. There you go. What do you drink? What are you drinking there, Tommy?
I don't know
what are you
beer.
drinking? Beer. Okay.
Makes sense.
That's fine. Beer.
I don't want to hear any crap. Oh, not you guys. Sorry, I'll cover the microphone. Hey, listen, I'm on a very important blab right now about whiskey and beer. Pilots coming in, giving me crap because I'm getting all excited, yelling down the hall about whiskey and
Oh, this
beer.
is awesome. This is fantastic.
Yeah, this is the pilot right here.
There he is.
Nice.
Captain.
Yeah.
Look at him.
He's not that good a pilot. He has landed everything he's taken off, though. This is countrywide. We got people all over the world. Look how many people are up there, and they don't want to.
Hey guys, I'll
You're
join you here
interrupting
in a
this
little bit.
blab. This is not even my blab.
See you soon.
Very sorry. He's rude. Very rude. He's a little drunker than he is normal. Right now.
Nice. That's
So I am
fantastic.
so excited about next Tuesday. You guys just tell me, just direct message me on Twitter whether I got to get the Imperial Stout or if I'm going to go get drunk in a whiskey bar. And I'm doing it. Listen. I am doing it for you guys. I'm doing it for you.
Well,
I will make a spectacle of myself just for your ratings.
the good news is, Eric, I have to tell you that I myself have Wednesday open, so that could potentially work for me as well. So we could switch gears. We could do a 50-50 though. I think that might be fair. Those folks that want to do the Imperial Stout in lieu of the whole Star Wars thing, we could do that, or we could do the bourbon. I think I'm long overdue for that.
Go hang out with Nicole Whitty, who's got everything in stock.
Right.
I
We could do
agree.
car bombs. We could do car bombs.
She's got both. Nice. There we go. Nice.
Excellent.
Well, I love your guys' blabs, so I'm going to get out. So if anybody else wants to come in, but next Tuesday it's on, and I'll just have everything ready for you. See you guys.
Nice. Excellent.
Very good. That sounds like
I don't know.
I don't know if it's a
I don't
cross between a monkey with gas and maybe a small moped. A third world
Monkey with
country.
gas.
I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
keep working on that. We'll when we're up next Tuesday, we'll try it again. Okay, see you guys.
All right, Eric. Good to see you, brother. Take it. Cheers.
Well, Hanny, while we're talking about connecting with people, I just wanted to let people know, besides direct messaging me on Twitter, if you need to get in touch with me for whatever reason, if you have an idea for a show, if you want a suggestion on what type of, like if we do the Imperial Stout next week, if you want me to give a suggestion, I can do that over direct message or on Twitter, whichever way. But I also have craftbeerblab@gmail.com. If you want to email, you can go ahead and email that address. So craftbeerblab@gmail.com. That'll come in, and I'll be able to see that, and I'll know exactly that it's for Craft Beer Blab. Just so that you know out there. In fact, I'll type it in here. So Craft Beer Blab at gmail.com.
I think I don't think that Nicole realizes, but I think we may have assigned her as the female co-host at large. No. Co-host, not co-host. She's coming. She's gonna give me crap. I totally set myself up for this one. Hey, Nicole, what's up? How you doing?
I'm actually quite excited for this next week.
All right, awesome. I thought you were gonna give me a rash of grief there because Eric, I said co-host. I meant to say co-host, and that was a total slip of words. So please do not take that one the wrong way.
My headphones are falling out here, but yes, I'm excited about next week. I already have my stock already taken care of.
Oh, awesome, awesome. Okay, so you said one or the other. You said either Imperial Stout or a whiskey bourbon blab. Is that what you're saying?
I got it all.
Both. Nice.
Bourbon, rye, beer.
Rye, nice. Okay, perfect. All right, that's
Okay,
good to know. Well,
What's that?
tell everybody what time next week.
Okay, yeah. Was it 9 o'clock East Coast? I think it's 8 o'clock here in Minnesota and 6 o'clock West Coast.
Sounds good.
Yep.
So, yeah, same time.
All right.
Yep. 7 p.m. Mountain Time, as Rush Miller says. Yeah, and it looks like we're getting close to the top of the hour here. I just want to thank everyone again for joining in.
Yeah,
please,
absolutely.
if anyone ever wants to join in and actually grab a seat, if we have an open seat, you're welcome to do that.
Oh, here he comes.
Yeah.
Back for more. Hey, hold on. Hey, Tommy K, hang on a second. We got a question from our audience. Shooter chimes in. He says, "Do you have a favorite brewery in Florida?" Man, that is a good one. That is a good one.
That is a good question. I haven't had very many Florida beers. I've heard really good reviews about. I think it's called Cigar City, and I think they brew an IPA called Highlight. I believe that Cigar City. That would be one that I would if I was in Florida, I would be looking for that particular beer, and getting that for sure.
There's a couple, and again, I'm not sure where we're chiming in Florida wise. I've got the Florida Beer Company, Florida Keys Brewing, looks like Florida Brewery Inc. So I don't know if those are established breweries per se, but or Florida, and there's Florida Avenue Brewing. And again, I think quite honestly, that's a great question. I don't know. Nice. So you're in Tampa? Okay, nice. Yeah. Cigar City, nice. That's good to know. I don't know. Well, what we were talking about earlier, and I'm going to see who that is. Host of the Shooter and Stash podcast. Nice. Hey, you need to do the Tommy Crowder beard cast right there. He's our member at large right there. His beard's got his own fan club and URL and a Facebook page. Everything else.
No,
no, but that's a good point though. I do not know, and I'm gonna earmark that right now. And seriously, that is a great feedback. I like that. But see, Gunnar, that's the beauty of this. We got Tommy Crowder's here, Eric's here, you're here, fantastic. Hey, Steven, thanks for joining in tonight. Appreciate it. We're at the top of the hour. All right, Gwendolyn's jumping in. Oh, maybe not.
I'd like to say that I love drinking on a Tuesday.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's great.
This is the only problem about drinking on a Tuesday. See that? There's no more white EPA. That is a problem.
Oh no, yeah. See.
Yes.
I'm getting close to the bottom of my.
I've been drinking every day.
I know. Well, thank goodness that this blab's only Tuesday. Hey, by the way, did you see? We did get the green light. Looks like next Tuesday for sure. We're going to be doing either the Imperial or the whiskey blab next Tuesday.
Right.
Nice. I'll be.
That's definitely the way it's going to go. In fact, you know what? I think the idea of either or and I think would be the way to go. So if you have a Russian Imperial Stout that you want to drink, bring that on. If you have a whiskey that you want to drink, bring that on. If you have both, go ahead and bring both, and we'll make a night out of it.
Double fisting, man. Booyah.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
I think
bourbon stuff.
You don't want two Hoosiers in the room drinking at the same time. I'm gonna fall off. I'm gonna fall off my stool. That's great.
Yeah.
This is too much fun. It's too much fun on a Tuesday night. It should be illegal. I'll tell you that right now.
Nice.
So Gunnar, let's take us home here, top of the hour, Craft Beer Blab, the Saison session. We are going to be coming to a close, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm your co-host, Jonah DiPasquale, and pleased to be with you. Give me a follow. Actually, my Twitter handle is Jonah DiPasquale, not the Hoggle. That's a whole nother story. Always love being here, Gunnar. Fantastic job. Great show as always. I really do enjoy Tuesday nights. Looking forward to it. Cast of characters. This show is certainly becoming cult status. Here we go.
Yeah. And I do appreciate everyone jumping on. Even Tommy Crowder, I appreciate him coming in every week. And especially, I got to give props to Jonah for co-hosting. He's been a great co-host. And be sure to check him out on Thursday nights because Bike Chat is just as awesome as this blab. If you like anything to do with cycling or bicycling, or if you just want to talk, hey, we're here there for you. And, maybe we'll drink then too. So go ahead and jump in on that. This week, we'll be talking to, who was it? Ferretti Cycles?
Ferretti Cycles. It's a good buddy of mine, Dave Ferret. He actually was in the health and medical industry for a number of years, and just became tired of dealing with a man, and literally went and applied for a grant. He got all of the necessary dollars and schooling to go back to the school books, I guess, as they say. He learned all of the right appropriate engineering and machining crafts and skills that he needed, and he builds fat bikes. He builds regular mountain bikes. Great story, and ironically, he lives right around the corner from me. So very, very cool story. It's Ferretti Cycles. They're also on both Twitter and Facebook. It's David Ferret is the owner of the company. But I'm excited. So it should be a lot of fun. So awesome.
And Eric says the sponsor James Lawrence, the Iron Cowboy, did 50 Ironman. Is he on tonight? Is that what we're saying?
No, James Lawrence was sponsored by it.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So yeah. Anyway, that'll be this Thursday's show as well. So check that out. Coming up.
Awesome. Once again, thank you everyone for joining in. We're just about to call it a night here. I will pause recording, but thank you again for joining in. Again, also, if you're catching this on YouTube, go ahead and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe. And we come out with these shows about every week. I try to post them right away to YouTube, and maybe it takes a little bit longer to post them onto my blog, but go ahead and check it out on YouTube. And YouTube link is, I believe, if you just search for Anello Grande, one word, you'll find it. Let me see if I can locate that link, because I don't have a custom URL there yet. YouTube. Of course, my internet's moving slowly. I'll find it. I'm from Indiana. Oh, Eric here. Blast.
That's awesome.
But again, thank you so much for joining in. I'm going to hit stop recording, and we can continue on slightly with an after show here.